The Federal Election Commission is now fining Hillary Clinton and the Democrat National Committee over the way it paid a firm to produce the notorious Steele dossier. The Clinton campaign has been fined $8,000 and the DNC slapped with a $105,000 penalty
for falsely claiming that they were just paying legal bills to the Clinton campaign law firm, when in fact they were paying for opposition research to go to Fusion GPS to ultimately put together a campaign document, which was the Steele dossier.
And that dossier wasn't just full of inaccuracies. That dossier basically said Trump was linked with Russia, and so began the Russia conspiracy.
The Steele dossier, which is where this all came out of, was the basis upon which FISA warrants were sought and ultimately issued, even though the FBI knew at the time that the information contained in those reports were really suspect.
We finally all know, it's finally been confirmed, the Steele dossier was always fabricated to smear Donald Trump and skew the results of the election. I actually doubt this is the last bit of dirt that's going to come out regarding the Clinton campaign and the DNC.
Neither the Clinton campaign nor the DNC objected. They said we're going to pay the fine, but they did not object to this characterization that they broke the law.
They broke federal election law.
Right.
That's why they agreed there was a finding of probable cause, and that's why they're paying the fine, because they want the story to go away.
We were very aggressive in our defense with a successful conclusion because we knew there was no Russia collusion with the Trump campaign. We knew that there were no obstruction of justice. The president was saying everything publicly. There was no hidden anything. There was more testimony given in that investigation than in any investigation, I think, in U.S. history. The number of witnesses that cooperated without executive privilege being asserted, it was very, very significant. And they had nothing.
President Biden back in Washington late Sunday trying to walk back his ad-libbed remark a day earlier in Poland, where he appeared to call for regime change in Russia.
This was an unplanned statement at the end that has created a lot of controversy.
For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
The White House immediately clarified that message, insisting the president wasn't talking about regime change, instead saying Putin cannot be allowed to exercise power over his neighbors or the region.
If the president is going to make a statement like that, and I think presidents have to make statements, they can't just live on television prompters and monitors. They have a right to make statements, but they need to make them in a circumspect fashion, and most important, they need to make them with the backing of their administration and with the backing, in this case, of our NATO allies.
This feeds directly into Putin's own propaganda that the real goal here of the U.S. is regime change.
It was an example, and this is my own personal opinion, of strong leadership from a president who usually is not strong, and he's very, very inconsistent. He's all over the board. On the other hand, it gave Putin and the Russians, a message that they're going to use to their advantage.
The Kremlin had a different interpretation. It's not up to Mr. Biden or Americans to decide who will remain in power in Russia. Only Russians who vote for their president can decide that.
Right now we have a crisis in Ukraine, and our focus should be on helping Ukraine. What Joe Biden just did was make the goal defeating Russia.
This only strengthens Vladimir Putin's hand domestically and makes escalation and more brutality and more death more likely.
Joe Biden was talking to Vladimir Putin, and that is what's created the political stir. Even if you think Vladimir Putin should go, is that the role of the United States or NATO to do that? And the White House has made clear that's not.
Censorship, cancel culture, public shaming, and the increasingly blurry lines between government, media, and these big tech platforms have unfortunately become part of American life.
What we have seen is a systematic takedown of conservative viewpoints, either by banning those viewpoints altogether. We saw the President of the United States be banned altogether, or by these platforms deciding, hey, we don't care that you have 4 million or 5 million people who want your information. We're not going to deliver it to them.
When people try to type my name into the search box on Instagram or the Discover box, my account does not show up. I'm also getting a lot of reports from people who are trying to @ me. They're getting a warning that says this account has posted false information.
We've had 2 incidents in a month. Information we put up was labeled by Facebook's censors as partly false. And then about 2 weeks later, we got one that said false information about a hearing we actually did. And then they took those down, but then said it was missing context. and we're the ones that did the hearing.
In the name of diversity, they have completely sacrificed true diversity of thought. And in the name of inclusion, they have actually created this culture of exclusion where certain points of view just aren't welcome.
Their corrections often do more damage to your brand because you're getting more notifications because now they're adjusting. Oh, we weren't completely right that everything was wrong. Now we're only partially right that you were wrong. So we're going to tell people again that you were wrong. And then you're going to have to fight it. And by that point, the damage is done. And that's the big concern here.
No, the thing with that they're saying I'm spreading misinformation. Once again, there's no evidence. There's no examples. There's no notice from them saying, hey, this is what you're saying that's false.
Right.
Absolutely none of that. So it comes down to if they don't like what you're saying, if you're shining a light on the truth, then you're going to be shut down or silenced.
Classic viewpoint discrimination is what's taking place right now. Classic viewpoint discrimination.